Time now for us to go viral. This was the most perplexing, the most entertaining of the weekend. Ohio State's fans showcased why they're one of the best in the nation. Nailing this backpack kid dance formation to perfection.
How, man?
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, I give you Iowa State. With This Is It right here, with their tribute, perplexing to Jurassic Park.
All right, listen. Iowa State.
Hold on. I was
Stay in your lane,
hysterics.
man. Stay in your lane.
It's so
What y'all trying to do with these dinos?
Oh, good. I'm dying.
Don't chill, man.
All out of order. Look. All out of order. They're hitting each other. There's random people. They go up too far.
Man, if I were a comic,
They go back.
I know you and
They
Baby
do back.
Sue like to go to comedy clubs.
Best ones in New York.
If I were a comic, I would pay Jenna Wolf to show up to my sets. Because
Listen.
I could just say, hey, everybody, how you doing?
Not true. I hardly laugh at anything. I didn't laugh at the Drake thing with
Because you didn't understand it.
Well, there's a reason.
You got that.
That's part of the
There's
laughter.
no words.
That's part of the laughter.
This is right in,
That is funny.
it's right in your wheelhouse. No words. No,
I mean,
nothing.
this is the thing. Ohio State, a lot of them kids, they on scholarship.
Yeah, man.
They are almost professional musicians.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was for the Cyclones. I don't know what blew in there. Like, I don't, like,
The degree of
You need
difficulty.
practice for that?
Those Ohio State kids are doing that while playing their instruments, obviously. Like, it is.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. These
Best
other doofuses just
thing.
in a blown up T-Rex.
I love you guys. Just so you know, I thought it was funny. Time for stories to start your morning. Sony Michel rushed for 106 yards, 2 touchdowns in the win over the Chiefs. That's now 315 yards, 4 touchdowns in 3 games. Cece, how dangerous does Michel make this Patriots offense?
The thing about Bill Belichick I love is Sony Michel wasn't the featured running back at University of Georgia. When they used that first-round pick on him, they had this in mind. They have James White as the secure blanket coming out of the backfield as a pure receiver. All they need is a thumper, someone in the middle. He is a bigger version of Deion Lewis, who gained 800 yards before he went to the Tennessee Titans in free agency.
This is what they hoped Lawrence Maroney was going to be a decade ago when they drafted him in the first round, right?
That was a bad
It was a bad pick, but that's what they
Out of
hoped
the
he would
University
be.
of Minnesota.
They don't win this game without him yesterday. He was the hardest thing for the Chiefs to stop. Early in the game, Brady wasn't especially sharp, but it didn't matter because Sony Michel was getting sick. They were in 2nd and 3 every time because they kept giving him the ball. I didn't totally understand this pick. Remember, we thought they have to draft the quarterback. They got to get a backup quarterback. They took him. It looks like a good pick right now.
Moving on to the Chargers at the Browns. Phillip Rivers went for just over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, while Melvin Gordon had 3 touchdowns and 132 yards on the ground. Chargers win 38-14. LA now 4-2. Nick, you buying the Chargers as contenders in the AFC?
They have the talent of them, and now they unlike most years with the Chargers where they give a few games away early, they haven't done that. They've had a few close calls, but their only 2 losses are the Chiefs and the Rams. I do think they're contenders. What's going to hurt them all year long is they're the one team in the league with the least home field advantage. They're practicing the silent count at home. It's hard to win when you don't have any home field edge, but they got all this talent, and they got Bosa coming back at some point, we think.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, I believe his career has been underrated. You put a running game with that with Melvin Gordon, as we saw when he had LT with him. They were dynamic as an offense. Young receivers starting to emerge on the outside. So he's got playmakers around him. I believe the Chargers are going to surprise a lot of people this season. Definitely a contender.
All right, moving on to the Rams now. They improved to 6-0 thanks in large part to Todd Gurley. He rushed for a career-best 208 yards and 2 touchdowns in the 23-20 win over Denver. Gurley now leads the NFL in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, yards from scrimmage, and total touchdowns. Nick, what did you make of Gurley's day yesterday?
It was critical. This was the 2nd straight week where they're playing a live underdog on the road in a tough environment. And unlike the Seattle game where Jared Goff was good, this is a game where Jared Goff had his worst game of the year. You could argue his worst game in a couple years. They win despite that. Why? Because they had the best player on the field, number 30. He was outstanding and held off the Broncos' comeback attack.
Also, I believe they have the best play caller. The reason why I like the performance is I believe it will pay dividends as the the weather starts to change. This is a team that we know only played out of the state of California 1 week, that being in Seattle. Going to Denver this week, temperature around 26 when they started. Field was covered with snow. Jared Goff, I believe he will gain confidence. And when you can't throw the ball around, you need someone to be able to hammer it. I love what Todd Gurley did.
London, baby. Finally, the Raiders and Seahawks played a spot of ball over in London this weekend. Raiders got pummeled 27-3. Derek Carr had only 142 yards on 31 pass attempts. He was sacked 6 times. Raiders lose. They fall to 1-5 on the year. Here's their head coach, John Gruden, on the state of his team.
We know what we have to do here. And I think I said yesterday or 2 days ago, we know we have a ways to go here. And today was a tough one.
You know, this being my 5th year, you want it now. You want everything now. I know our fans want it now. Our players, our team wants it now. Our coaches want it now. And trust me, we are trying to do it now. It's because it's so easy in this league to let something like this happen, how the year has gone. People beating down on you, saying this, doing that, and to just go in the tank and just say, we're done. That's not what we do in Oakland. You know, I know that. You know, I know that's not how we do things. And I've been a part of things like this where it's hard at first, but I tell them all the time, I promise you, when we're on the other side of this, it'll be so worth it. Do not hang your head for a second.
All right, Cece, let's take a step back. What has gone so wrong for the Raiders this season?
Well, I know something changed since the press conference. Because John Gruden, when they hired him as head coach, all the excitement that he had that day for Raider Nation and everything, something happened. Because he didn't tell us that day that they had a long way to go. No. He didn't tell us that day that they were rebuilding. So if they're rebuilding all of a sudden, has his opinion changed? Does he have his franchise quarterback? Because I don't know a team that has their franchise quarterback and they're also rebuilding. All right, you can say, okay, well, they got Josh Allen in Buffalo. We don't know if they got their franchise quarterback.
And he's a rookie.
We do know they're rebuilding them.
Yes.
So typically when teams have their quarterback, the rebuilding process has already started because you have the #1 piece that it takes. So for me, they got a lot of question marks in Oakland, not only as far as that roster, but for me, I know John Gruden well enough to know football ain't real fun. In that announcing booth, don't nobody win or lose. You go home winning every day. Man, you cash that check. Hey, didn't win, didn't lose. Did nobody blame me? Also, you leave the TV booth, people think you know a lot about football. You leave London, John Gruden couldn't be feeling about his football team moving forward, what they're going to do the rest of the season. So for me, I believe this is just the beginning. I believe it's going to get worse in Oakland before it gets better.
Listen, I think people are starting to now see what I was talking about before the year, which is I've been skeptical of Derek Carr. I know he had the year, he broke his leg, he could have won the MVP. Even then, he was a dinker and dunker. Yesterday, how many times did he throw that ball? 31 times for 140 yards? What's that, 4 yards per attempt? John Gruden, I think, from the TV booth, thought, well, they got a franchise quarterback in Oakland. They got a quarterback to be the best quarterback I've ever had.
John Gruden said, you're the reason why I unretired.
Yes.
Now, something happened between that press conference and what he said yesterday from London.
I'll tell you what happened. He went to OTAs, he went to minicamp, he went to training camp, and he realized, oh, no.
Not that
in a league where it's never been more important to throw the ball and throw the ball downfield and to score, we have a limited quarterback who is paid like he's not a limited quarterback, and that only matters because of how it restricts you otherwise. And that's what made him pivot. That, I believe, to this day, is what necessitated the Khalil Mack trade. Because part of the thing on the Khalil Mack trade we said was, well, they've already earmarked this money for Amari Cooper. So you can't have Carr, Cooper, and Mack, but it looks like Cooper's on the block too. So it's what necessitated the Khalil Mack trade. You get extra picks to be able to draft a quarterback. It's one of the reasons why I think Amari Cooper's now available. They are doing a full teardown in Oakland. They are going to be up and running by 2020. That is the hope. That is when they move into Las Vegas. At that point, they will have both those first-round picks from the Khalil Mack trade. I believe they'll have a new quarterback, and I believe by then there might be one player left that Reggie McKenzie drafted. Because we already know they cut a couple full draft classes. Like, they are clearly moving on from an era, and Gruden's just going to have to eat it in the meantime. I think this is, while they don't want to be 1-5, this is his plan. It's just going to be tough PR until they show any type of results.
Tough plan. All right, let's move on to the Cowboys. They picked an interesting opponent with which to show off the offense we thought they didn't have. Taking on the Jaguars first quarter, Dak Prescott with a chunk of his career-high 82 rushing yards. Not bad. Second quarter, Dak to Cole Beasley. Beasley's first touchdown of the year. Dallas goes up 17-0 in the fourth now. Zeke gets a rushing touchdown of his own, 15 of 106 yards there. Cowboys all